What's up guys, if you're watching this video, I'm gonna guess that you are thinking about getting, or already have, one of the Genesis Arms Terran Tactical Gen-12 HPA shotguns. Whether it's knowing how to chrono your gun, set some of the electronics features, or just get it set up so you can go play with it on the field for the first time, I'm Glenn, and we're gonna cover all that on today's episode of What the Tech. So to get started, we'll go ahead and grab our shotgun. We can go ahead and screw the knobs on now. They come with a little bit of a thread locker installed on them so they won't back out on you. And if you really want to snug them down, you can just take a little tool and just gently snug them down. Now that you have the gun all assembled, we'll just gently pinch the sides at the bottom of the grip. You can access your electronic connector. You'll take a mini 7.4 volt LiPo battery. Just go ahead and plug that in. We'll grab our tank and regulator, connect that to the Airline connector on the back here, and now we're ready to chrono. So let's take a step outside. So to chrono, we're just going to want a few things. We'll want to have our battery plugged in. We'll want to have our air and our regulator. And finally, you'll want to make sure that your hop-up is set correctly. Out of the box, it should come set right about where you want it for 0.28 gram BBs, but if you have heavier ones or lighter ones, you might want to adjust your hop. To do this, it has a top dead center style hop-up. You want a 1/8 inch hex key, and you can simply back it off counterclockwise for less hop, clockwise for more hop. Once you have your hop-up set correctly, we'll just go ahead and take our BBs. For me, it helps to have a speed loader like this style. You can just drop one BB into the feed tube and then push it on past the BB catch. With it pointed down, I'll rotate it over. That helps ensure the BB is seated in the proper position. And then we can just go ahead and fire through the chrono. And then we can simply adjust the velocity of the gun with whatever hex key your regulator requires. So if I want to turn my velocity down, I'll simply turn down my pressure just a bit, double check where it is on my gauge, and repeat the process. And you can simply do these steps, adjusting your pressure until you're where you want to be. Now let's go ahead and look at some of the electronics features. So with the battery plugged in, we can go ahead and look at our settings. Out of the box, it'll just come in the standard semi and full automatic settings. But if we want to change that, we can go ahead and change our burst modes. All we need to do is hold down the trigger with the battery plugged in. Should take about 5 seconds, but you'll also hear it click again, and then you can release it. And now it'll be in semi 3-round burst. You can continue to do the same process. Just holding the trigger for about 5 to 10 seconds with it in semi-automatic. And now it's in semi only. If we do that one more time, it will put us into what we're calling an anti-spam mode. Anti-spam mode is going to put you into semi-auto in both selector positions, and it's going to limit your rate of fire to effectively 3 rounds a second. So you can't pull the trigger and fire any faster than that. This is just another feature for fields if they want another way to enforce how you play with this gun on a field so that you can't just overshoot whoever you're aiming at. So let's go ahead and program the rate of fire. We'll start by unplugging our battery, hold down the trigger, and with the trigger being held down, I'm going to plug in the battery again. Now, the way to know that I'm in programming mode is to pull the trigger, and you'll notice that it only fires when I let go of it. So this will confirm that I'm in programming mode. So to set the rate of fire, I'm just going to flip over to the full auto position and hold down the trigger. You'll notice that it will tap 3 times and slowly get faster and faster until I reach the max setting, and it will cycle around to the lowest setting and start all over again. So there it went all the way to the lowest setting. Pull the trigger, let go, and it will show you where you're at in your current settings. If I wanted it to be a little slower, I could just double tap the trigger. And you might notice that it's getting slower. Once I'm happy with where it's at, I can just unplug the battery, plug it back in, and you'll notice that I'm not in programming mode. It only fires when I pull the trigger instead of when I let go of it. And it will have saved my rate of fire settings. And now to program the dwell, you'll simply hold down the trigger. It's going to go through a list of settings. We'll hear it double tap, and that's how we know we're at the maximum dwell setting. Now, one thing that is a lot different about the Gen 12 is setting the dwell. It's much less objective than it is on something like the Gen 2 Inferno. To set the dwell on the Gen 12, basically what I'll do is go to the max setting where I hear it double click, and then I'll just start stepping it down. You'll want to do this with a magazine installed and with the air hooked up to the gun. The way to know when the dwell is too low on the Gen 12 is that you'll see the last BB out of the 8 BBs that are coming out of your barrel, the last one will kind of start to drop down. You'll notice that it just seems a little underpowered. It doesn't quite have the same trajectory as the other BBs, and this is how you know that the dwell is too low. So you'll hold down the trigger, your BB should just be in a nice pattern as they come out of the barrel. You'll continue to hold it down and it will step down through the settings, and once you see the BB, just the last one seems like it's just dropping down, you'll just want to double tap your trigger so that you go back up to the previous setting, and then you can simply save where you're at by unplugging the battery and plugging it back in. And that is basically all you need to know about getting started with the Gen 12 shotgun. Hopefully this video was super helpful. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to reach out to the tech department. You can check our knowledge base, which has a ton of great information about all of our products. You can also drop a comment down below to let us know how we did, and maybe check out the channel for some other great content just like this. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you out on the field.